is on.
Alright, welcome back to the Loft with Jay and the Lou himself.
That is me, that is I. Louis the
Today-
Fourth, here in the flesh.
Today we got together to take on the God, the triumphant human being, the transcendent man himself, the manly, aka the godly, Todd Howard, and his company, Bethesda.
Yeah. Recently acquired by Microsoft.
Shout out to him. Good business decision, by the way.
I mean, get the bag.
Yeah.
If you can.
Hey, Phil Spencer, which don't quote me on his name, I misquote names all the time. Phil Spencer is like the GOAT. He's actually a gamer boy, you know?
Phil Spencer, he's like the CEO of Microsoft.
Yeah.
Or or just Xbox, right?
I think it's just No, I think it's
All of it?
Yeah, I think it's all of it.
Okay.
Fairly certain.
Yeah, I know Game Pass is actually insane, but it makes a lot of sense. Like, weirdly enough, streaming isn't always a money maker for the studios.
Yeah.
But for game studios, it absolutely can be.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like Nintendo's even found success with it with the way they're doing their virtual console right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically like, we will sell you, like people like the idea of having a backlog of NES and N64 games to play, but like in reality, a lot of people don't go back to play them.
Exactly.
And Game Pass is doing that same thing where it's just like, it would be nice to have any of these when I want. you know?
Right. I mean, that's the basis of why a lot of people pre-ordered Steam Decks. Like at this point, they've just transitioned. They're like, okay, I'm bored of playing my Steam games I have already on my computer.
Right.
Let's make this thing an emulator. Which that's awesome and great and everything, but you effectively paid $500 to go back in time.
But yeah, that's one of the, like, everyone freaked out when the Switch came out, right?
Yeah, it's revolutionary. For sure.
People freaked out when the Wii U came out. Not really.
That
People
was-
freaked out for different reasons.
Put some respect on the Wii U. Though.
No, but
Dude.
truly, the Wii U was one of those first consoles that people are like, oh shit, I can play this while I should.
Hard,
Like,
yeah.
that's,
they don't miss.
Yeah.
They don't miss.
So I get it.
Yeah, but a little side tangent.
Yeah, exactly.
But we didn't come to tackle consoles quite yet. We're tackling a particular game studio again, Bethesda.
Yeah.
Me personally, that is my number one game company / studio. Oh yeah, fucking tap.
You're good.
Podcast rules, dude. That's bad podcasting. Okay.
Jay, terrible podcasting right off the start.
I already want to leave, and it's my own house.
We're the audio's shitty, and we're not even talking about the thing we're supposed to be
Fuck
talking
it.
about.
Turn off the audio interface. Turn off the cameras. Fuck this. Okay. But
We're never gonna get to Wayne Gretzky.
I would say Bethesda is my favorite game company.
Oh,
I think they have
okay.
the most. I think they have the most hits. They have the most bangers.
I would say Bethesda is one of those companies where the highs are extremely high,
Yeah.
and some of the lows, like,
Are very
you
medium.
could definitely feel them,
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's not like lows like some other companies, like Ubisoft or like Activision.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, where just like the actual bottom is like, how low can this go?
The
Like
bottom
there is
line.
a seal of quality on a Bethesda game at the end of the day. Whether or not the quality of the engine's there is another discussion. But
Yeah, I mean, bringing that up, that's like point one that usually everyone makes, and that you guys may not know about in depth, but as far as I remember, Bethesda's in-house code is effectively like let's say the code for Oblivion, which I forget the exact name of it, but
Yeah.
they were pretty much just building off of the previous, any additives they made to the Fallout engine.
Mm-hmm.
They would implement that and just effectively cut and paste. So what they have is spaghetti code.
Yeah.
And that's why we have, one of my favorite glitches in Skyrim is after you open your eyes in the intro and guy goes, "Hey, you over there, you're awake." The cart just fucking flips over, loses all physics, and anytime it touches the ground or a texture, it goes, you start floating into the sky, and the dialogue is still happening. That shit is because of shit like that. The cut and paste spaghetti code type shit. They're notorious for that. But what I do think is that I think they've worked that out, like in recent times. I don't know if they're going to be using the same engines to produce like their future Elder Scrolls series, like Redfall.
I think, with Elder Scrolls 5, I mean, maybe even Starlink, I believe they've developed a totally new system. I think Fallout 4 was one of those, like, that was their max. They were like, we can't really do anything more than this.
Yeah, because Fallout 4 was
what
just
we have.
Skyrim with maxed out like capacity, pretty much.
Right. And the next gen hop allowed them to just be like, okay, we can just up the settings and get away with it. But
another big bug in Fallout 4, and you may know this one, all the water textures and reflections turn into like a multicolored oil pattern, like oil and water. So everything is fucked. It's because of the light physics bouncing off the reflection, and then it just says, oh, create color here? Yeah. And all the colors, not this one. But that's, again, because that was the max performance that they could pump out with that engine, and then it said, oh no, Todd, I don't feel so good.
It's not like they weren't able to get some beautiful images out of those.
Oh, it's still dope. It's still dope.
I think about, obviously, Skyrim has plenty of, like, nice mountainscapes and waterfalls, what have you, but, like, Fallout New Vegas, the DLC where they do Zion.
Oh yeah, awesome.
That
was fucking cool.
Incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like,
cool.
It looks just as good as the park somehow, and you're like,
and
it feels like you're looking at 1080p.
And it had like a higher
max.
level of verticality compared to Fallout, like the base game.
Right.
The only like high place you really get to is that super mutant village northwest of New Vegas. When you take the road upwards into the mountains, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you see trees and shit. Yeah, that's like the only altitude and verticality I feel like you get out of like most of the Fallout games.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. Bar the Fallout 3 Megaton nuke scene when you go to the hotel and you go to the top floor with the old man there.
That was a great penny tower.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great like sign of verticality there.
I mean, it's one of the. It's one of, like Fallout 3 is built around a couple moments, is what that game feels like, and that's one of their big like.
Well, it was very thematic
showcasey
though.
moments.
I think it portrayed the, wasteland version of Hero's Journey very well, like the vault dweller mystique that they've run with throughout every narrative.
It's just a bit
because you're not. I feel like in 3. You're not supposed to know what the fuck's going on or what's right and wrong from the character's perspective. So that's why they just toss you out, and it's like I'm following the breadcrumbs looking for my dad story, because to the Vault Dweller, that's really all you want is answers from him, because he's the only reliable source and piece of home that you know.
Yeah, it's just that quest specifically is a tough point for me on Fallout 3, just because it's more emblematic of like some of the bigger problems of the game. Mm-hmm. But it's also like one of the first things they throw you at, and it's just
fun.
It's like okay, look, your choices could make an impact, and it's about as much as that. Like that's the biggest choice I feel like you get to make in that game, and like that's why it's disappointing to me, because it's not as nuanced as it would be in New Vegas.
Wouldn't you say it feels more bad when you're at the end of the game and you get a pop-up that says inject FEV into water source?
Yeah.
Don't inject FEV into water source. Dude, that didn't feel good at all.
No,
None of it feels good.
And your super mutant ally, can't go in for you.
But oh shit, I remember that actually.
I mean, it's absurd. Like
it just doesn't make sense because he would survive, right?
It's just it's a game on railroads, and like don't get me wrong, Liberty Pride is hilarious.
Destroy
and
the communists.
Fun
That's awesome.
Yeah, like to see the Brotherhood of Steel come out.
That's
like,
the only.
Full force,
That's the only time
damn,
that they do something good with technology.
And that's what I'm saying. Is it's just like to me, it's like that's exactly what I hated about Fallout 4 was like being like, oh, right away, here, jump into this power armor, and then like you're gonna defeat a Deathclaw with a Gatling gun, and you're just like,
and it's gonna attack.
You're like, I didn't earn any of this, and in other games, I had to earn this, and this very much feels like a cutscene now that I'm playing.
Well, and we even talked about that Deathclaw scene because I remember I was like wouldn't it have been cooler if you got locked in the power armor and you
Oh.
couldn't help anybody
Dude, it feels
outside?
like a horror, like
It's
scene
like
that
it
would
starts
be
playing
incredible.
the Enclave music, and it's like, President William Johnson here, and I'm here to talk to you about the Enclave. And you can't get out of the fucking power
Just
armor.
imagine like some dude's like, oh, you need to find a power cell for that, and you put it in a power cell and it malfunctions or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many reasons you could find to just be locked into there.
Is it because you think it's because Obsidian wasn't on Fallout 4?
I mean,
I feel like
a lot of reasons.
I feel like that's some Obsidian shit because I feel like that's something that would happen in like Outer Worlds, for example. Not to bring them into this, but
Yeah, I don't know if they would have been as bold to take like a straight up horror like scene like that. I think that's just probably too outside of the
I
mainstream.
think it would still be a little
But-
lighthearted, you know.
But like I feel like, at least when I was a kid, when I started Fallout New Vegas, like when the death claws came and got you, it was scary because like that thing just like you saw it for
Dude,
2 seconds, one swipe, you are dead.
yeah, especially seeing one
and then
in
you see like your body ragdoll and fly after.
seeing one in VATS, especially which ones can go invisible? Can they all go invisible?
I think
Or
the
is it
ones
just
in the
the
quarry.
alphas?
There's a bunch of fucked up ones there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
you see it in VATS, and then you're like, all right, I got a 40% chance to hit from here with my bolt action rifle. I could do it. You hit him, does 2 damage, and he goes invisible and starts running at you, and you're just like, oh, fuck, fuck.
Just fire into the air, and then all of a sudden you see like the limbs broken. Symbol,
you see like
and then, and
the
then you're
blood
dead.
texture on the arm, and it's just like comes at you, and you're just like, oh no, fuck. Oh shit. But nonetheless,
Good times, good times. Obviously, we
those-
have a lot of affinity for Bethesda games,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. But those were the good times, and the good times, they're not anything without bad times, right? And after doing some research, we realized I wouldn't necessarily know if it was a bad time because I don't really understand how well received these games were because I was not alive. But it turns out that Bethesda did not start its humble roots in RPGs. It started its roots in sports games. Namely, a fucking Wayne Gretzky simulator on fucking Microsoft DOS, bruh. A DOS OS. Are you kidding?
Don't. I mean, so
It's
he's
probably-
beating
it's
out
probably
Tony Hawk here, right? Like he has to be the first.
In the first sports
Did he
game?
beat- was Mike Tyson in Punch Out before this?
What
Probably.
are the notes on the Wayne Gretzky Hockey 2, 1998? 1998, yeah. I think that there's sports games before that.
Well, I'm thinking like the first celebrity. In
Oh,
a
celebrity
game.
sport?
I'm thinking it has to be Mike Tyson in Punch Out, right?
I would think so, yeah. Yeah,
I don't know if they marketed it around that specifically.
around him being in it, no,
Yeah,
not
that
necessarily.
was just like a fun.
But
thing.
they had all the they had what's his name, Butterbean. Butter.
I
This
don't
nigga's
know.
eating beans type beat. They had a fat boxer.
Hey, bro, I'm just
Remember?
trying to enjoy Cars too.
Hey, bro, I just want to watch Cars 2 and eat beans, nigga. Okay, nonetheless, I didn't know that they made sports games at all.
I actually had no idea until we were just pulling this together.
Because as far as I know, most of Todd Howard's inspirations were he is a big sports fan. He's like a big Dallas Cowboys guy.
Yeah.
So maybe it makes sense that he started in doing these simple sports games. 'Cause at this time, I think Todd was actually programming alongside
Yeah,
other people.
and what I was gonna say is I'm sure there were some shovelware sports games out, but this was not the era of FIFA getting released every year and literally being just a roster update.
It's a lot of obscurity
Yeah,
surrounding games. So.
you would assume each time they're someone's taking a hockey game, they could actually reinvent what a hockey game plays like, or put in their own mechanics. Okay, is this going to be top down, or are we going to try to, bring it into 3D a bit, or tons of options. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they sold well for an early company and were easy license to set
it
up
kept
and
him in
just pump
business,
out. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of companies that did not make it out of the 90s before. At the late 90s is when the money started getting really good, I think. But there's so many people who didn't make it out of that era.
Oh yeah.
To this day, which is why Todd is the GOAT himself, the God of mankind.
I mean, it's interesting too, though. You have a Home Alone, the Terminator game, Where's Waldo? Like, I don't know. It's you would think that people would talk about the Terminator game that Bethesda made, right?
Yeah.
Or the few
At least
Terminator
a
games
fucking
they made.
video essay on the obscure ass games that
Yeah.
they made. I haven't seen one. Maybe there is one out there.
I feel like I did a while ago watch something on the company's history, but like it was very much just these early titles just kind of skip
Right,
past
did
because
you go into any of the mechanics or anything like that?
I mean, because the thing is, this is a company that eventually became one of the biggest in the industry. So obviously, like everyone's got an opinion on the big games, but they had to put in a lot of games before they were able to hit that point.
It's
right?
like putting in your internship hours type shit. Like,
Yeah.
show that you can make these games, But I guess it did like form a basis of how we got these games today. Because what I wanted to bring up out of that era was, this was 2003. Elder Scrolls Shadowhunt on Endgear, which was a handheld gaming device and mobile phone made by Nextel, and it was exclusive for that system.
The what? The Nextel?
Yeah, Nextel. I think it was the Endgear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was effectively a hand, like, dude, imagine a big ass fucking Nextel like slide up phone, but oriented like a GameCube controller without the middle part. So it's just like this. You have buttons on the side. You hold it like.
Oh man.
Yeah, you have crab hands on that thing.
And people didn't freak out like the Switch. That was the Switch.
Dude, I never heard of it, so evidently not. But it got a 6 out of 10 on IGN. So, and it was multiplayer. That was the crazy part. What? And to top it off, it featured music from Morrowind, which I don't know if Morrowind was even out yet. It was 2003, so maybe it was. Maybe I think it came out in 2002. But it may have been like a little sneak peek to the music, which is a little bit of where I want to delve into, in the early history at least of Bethesda. So around the time that they started developing the Elder Scrolls series, I believe it starts with either Arena or Daggerfall, Todd met Julian LeFay. Who is Julian LeFay? He is the actual creator of the Elder Scrolls series.
Right.
Now, he wrote most of the lore and the main story of the Elder Scrolls world up until before Morrowind came out, and he quit because of philosophical differences with Todd of how like a gaming company should go. So I think he was more of the old guard, like of people that were like, I want to make games because I like this shit.
Yeah, and Todd was ready to push forward.
Todd got his
to
first
take over more of the
100K.
company.
Dude, first 100K, he started fucking. And he got a Porsche and he said, "Well, I don't think that's a good idea, Julian. I think you need to hear me out. Look at the money, Julian." And listen, he wasn't going for it. But there's a person that stayed in Bethesda from the old guard, and they begged Julian. They were like, "Can you please come back and advise on Morrowind?" Which he agreed to because they were friends. But after that, he never had anything to do with Elder Scrolls, and I'd say Morrowind is what got them critically acclaimed in the genre of RPGs. And I think that's hella fucking sad, because I mean, as a writer and as like a DM for D&D, shit like that, that's like me telling you some of the ideas I've had that I've been working on.
Right.
And then I see on Reddit by Louis V, or the Fourth, "Hey guys, I have an idea for a new campaign. Check this small PDF I already made." And it has your name all over it, and it's my shit! 2K upvotes? Dude, that would be so frustrating.
Bro,
So to get scammed
for the cloud.
Exactly, that's what Todd said. And dude, to get scammed out of your own IP and have it become more wildly successful in each iteration, which I'm gonna keep it real with you. He wrote the Oblivion story as well. Like, he didn't obviously write it out, but he had the background lore already done up to Uriel.
To set it all up.
Yeah, to Uriel Septim of that game. And then a group of other writers, fucking like vultures, picked at that and put together a story. And I could be a little wrong on that. Maybe it could have been the old guard that worked with him that put that all together. So it's still...
Yeah, I'm sure there's some people.
Yeah, it's still like honest in nature,
Yeah.
which I love Oblivion. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating. I'm just saying
No, but that's...
the guy that made the shit wasn't there to oversee anything that was approved past, even before the release of Morrowind, which you can only imagine how much better or how different the narrative could have been.
Right.
That's what ifs and
No,
critics.
I mean, what I think about a lot is it really is the thesis of this company is that each game gets them more commercial, but it's also ends up with them like watering down, something about like, exactly, like whether it's the lore or actually like the game mechanics or like what type of experience and expression and role play there is, because the early Elder Scroll games did have, all that customability.
Right.
And it's just each iteration that started stripping parts of that away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happened with Fallout,
Yeah, that is true. That's what I actually, and that's a really good point, because I wanted to bring up the fact that we spoke on how Oblivion's Mages Guild questline was significantly superior to any of the questlines in Skyrim, right? And that's just because the writing was like unparalleled. And me at the time, I was like 12. It was very hard for me to really understand. I mean, not necessarily hard, but it was a very complex story. And it was hella long. It took many hours to progress through it fully.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get something like Skyrim, which College of Mages, that shit is ass. That shit is straight up terrible. It's railroaded like the way you feel about Fallout 3.
Right.
It's like, the Archmage made you the Archmage because you were so like good. What the fuck are you talking about, bruh?
You've been here
I
for
didn't
a
do
week
shit.
and-
Yeah, I literally did nothing. In Oblivion, you work your way up through treachery and like I believe there's some like inside betrayal, because it ends up being, in spoilers, Mannimarco the Lich King, who Mannimarco is a greater character in the lore. He's like one of the few mortals outside Tiber Septim that has managed to kind of scam his way into godhood.
I'm so out of the Elder Scrolls lore.
Bro, it gets
oh
crazy.
my god.
It gets
You were like,
crazy.
spoiler, bro. And I was like, yeah? And then I was like, no, I'm good.
It's the
that
Thanos.
that didn't mean anything.
It's the
to me.
Thanos, I don't even know who you are
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, you said Tiber Septim? I don't even know who that is. Anyways, the main reason why they're
I appreciate that.
the main reason why they're important is because Tiber Septim he realized that life is a dream, and he said, if I'm in the dream, I must be a part of the dreamer, right? And then became a god pretty much on he got real philosophical with it. And Mannimarco just scammed his way to godhood via some really... He's existed like since the first era, which is a span I think of 100 years or 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
In Oblivion, you're in fourth era, so you're fighting a 400-year-old necromancer at the end of the Mage Guild quest line, and it is fucking awesome. And it's hard as shit, I think. Again, I was 12, so these things are relative, and I didn't know how to level up my character properly at the time, so I was pretty fucked up, but nonetheless, it was still really entertaining. And that long drawn out thing.
So Morrowind was your introduction to Bethesda, or
Oblivion.
Or okay, Oblivion.
Yeah, I actually went Oblivion, Skyrim, Morrowind, and then I tried to play Daggerfall last year. I found a way to install it, and then I tried like a graphical update mod to make it look like better.
Right.
That shit ain't playable. I don't know how people did it.
Yeah.
I don't know how people did it. I can't. As much as I want to, can't fucking do it, dude.
Dude, Fallout 3 I think is like still pretty unrunnable.
No, dude, no. You need Windows 7 or some shit,
yeah,
or like Windows
it's
Vista.
Yeah.
You literally can't. Yeah, see, I've read several posts about like, here's how you can install and play Fallout 3 on Steam, and it's a fucking like 2-page like, here's plugins you need to install and mods.
The easiest way is actually to import Fallout 3 into New Vegas, like as a mod.
Oh my
Like
fucking
people
god.
have made mods that like combine both games and let you go through both.
Damn, that's fire.
It's
Actually.
pretty sick. Which I haven't done myself, but like that, it's nuts that like that's the workaround.
Mm-hmm.
Is that guy off? Do we want to hit that?
Nice.
Boom, baby.
Nice.
Moist.
Nice.
But what do you feel like was watered down from the Fallout series?
Well, I haven't played through as much of like Fallout 1 and 2 to have like the. I've done enough research, I guess, on it to understand what they've watered down. But when I first encountered Fallout 3, I was basically in like middle school, so that was my introduction into the universe. And yeah, again, I was really wowed by it. I mean, it's the thing that like it's why they made the game, because they knew they could reach a bigger audience than it had before.
You're saying 3?
3.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they did a lot of things to, they took away a lot of stuff as far as like how hard, the first 2 games were and how punishing they could be. They moved away, they moved to the other coast so that they could tell their own story on that half of the country without necessarily stepping on too much of the lore.
Right.
But, they really just carved their own game in. We're just kind of like, at that time, like, can we even bring Fallout back, right? And so, I like as hard as I want to be on it, they also did something that like no one else was gonna do at that time.
Right.
And they were able to market and popularize it pretty well enough. It wasn't until I got to Fallout New Vegas and I saw how much deeper of an experience that was that I started to understand some of the shortcomings that people were describing about Fallout 3.
Yeah. I could agree with that, actually. Everything about that game is more polished.
Absolutely. And they had the benefit of, like I just said, Bethesda putting out that engine and coming up with a lot of the systems, and then they just got to say, okay, but what if we brought it back that little bit from the old game? Or what if we did mods on weapons, or try to add these factions, lots of great ideas that just deepen the role play.
You think the settlement building came in too late?
Too late.
Like, too late for it to really matter, right?
I like settlement building is like farming in a game where it's like it could be like the best thing or like the worst thing. I think it unfortunately they just added it at a time that it just felt like
nice muffler class,
right? But it felt like they just added it at a time where everyone else was doing it too. And I mean, I guess the base defense stuff like was maybe a fun idea, but it's all pretty shallow of an experience for Fallout 4. I think if they had made it like work in a cool way with the story, I'd be all for it. But
yeah, I brought that up because that's the one thing I probably like the most about Fallout 4.
Okay.
Surprisingly, because I RP a lot when I play Fallout.
Yeah.
And especially because it's pretty much voiceless protagonist, and not in this instance because he was voiced, and that ruined it for me.
Right.
I just sit there and I kind of like talk to myself. I'm like, oh, the Enclave can take an attack me, huh? These motherfuckers.
It's always the Enclave with you.
Bro, fuck those guys. Fucking vertebrates and shit, fuck you. But like I said,
You just want to punch Eleanor Roosevelt in the face.
oh,
like,
absolutely.
that's like,
Yeah, right in their old Democratic face. And I'm a Democrat. No, I'm just kidding. But fuck, that fucked up my train. Okay, there we go. So, yes, it is always the Enclave with me. 1, but 2, they always attacked me in Fallout 4. I don't know if that was, because you can kind of piss them off in a way, I believe, and they'd always pull up on vertebrates. But the one thing I do want to say about settlements was that you're right, it was missing a lot, but it was fixed by the aid of player community mods.
Always.
So when you install the uncapped settlement size mod, and then you install there's a couple other quality of life
no
mods.
boundaries on your settlement.
Shit. Yeah,
and
bro.
And then just somebody, different buildings and
somebody
different
made the Citadel from 3 in 4 using those combination of mods. I know, dude, it is so much. I built a pretty big sized. I built over the first settlement where Preston Garden goes to, your old hometown or your old little house area. and I installed a mod that lets you clear out all the fucking pre-destroyed assets that are there, right? So you can actually build something use like normal, right?
Yeah.
I actually went pretty goddamn hard. Full electricity throughout the city. And I'm not that guy in any other game.
No, and that's exactly what I'm saying is that like I love personalization, and that's exactly what we're looking for in a role play, like just expression through the gameplay mechanics.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's unfortunate that like they probably spent a lot of hours building that thing, and it's like it's all right. You know?
I mean that's like the usual shit that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's mid, but that's because like a lot of people say it's scope creep, scope creep is like effectively the scope of the game itself is too big,
right?
And the features begin to close in on themselves because of the things that weren't finished.
Yeah.
And it ruins the experience because it's like looking at a painting in the background or the edges aren't done.
Yep.
As much as it's great and good to look at, your eyes are not gonna avert from the parts that are not perfect.
And it just makes me think about the world design where it's like it is a beautiful world to walk through because you're like, oh man, society's been ravaged. But then like anytime you get to a place where like civilization is trying to rebuild, it's still fucking dirty. Like, and don't get me wrong, there should be a level of like that realism to it, but you're just like, so no one's ever going to be able to keep anything clean now, right? Like, you're telling me there's not like a pristine white house in the middle of the wasteland that somebody like has a character thing about where he's like, Tenpenny Tower style, where they're like, we're living like maybe fully developed lives and we're in a picturesque community, but not just a tower, like just like
an actual living situation.
Yeah, and because even when you go into Tenpenny Tower, the inside looks like all the other beat up interiors of buildings that you've been in.
The Institute.
Okay, I mean, but the Institute is like
that shit was sexy, bro. You
can't tell me that shit wasn't hot. I just talked myself into liking Fallout 4, didn't I?
Yeah. That shit's sexy, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. I just wanted some of that Institute shit in the like. If you were gonna build a new society, and you team up with the Institute, like, why can't you have some nice looking metal floors or something and walls? Like, why does it have to look shitty still?
Yeah. Steampunkish.
Especially because I get maybe the era of Fallout 4 is like the time on the timeline is the earliest point like that like humans could have been messing around again.
Right. Yeah.
And people even are like, yeah, they really couldn't have, but who cares because it's a game.
With the Institute?
No. Just
in general.
In general, like what I'm saying is like when before he gets like Fallout 4 spoilers, before the kid gets stolen, like, and then time progresses after that point.
Yeah,
but they if you're just taking the timeline, you're like, well, there shouldn't have been humans like at that point to take him out, but they needed the timeline to work like that so that he could be the age he is when the actual game's taking place.
Was there an actual like continuity issue? Oh,
well. It's literally about the half-life. It's about the habitat. Like Earth wouldn't be able to sustain life at that point yet. Like people wouldn't have gotten out of the vaults. Like they're kind of being like people would have gotten out 100 or 150 years earlier.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's fine. Who really cares?
I always forget the detail about the fact that it only states that you're frozen for X amount of time after, like 4 happens prior to 3.
Right, because you're on the day of the bombs, and then so you're seeing.
I completely glossed over any period of time of how long I was frozen.
Right.
Because I seen my son and I was like, oh, this motherfucker's old. So I've been in there. I never even.
Yeah, and the Fallout universe. But I just need to get out of the vault and get back to that Fallout world.
I mean,
because it's timeless.
Now I just feel
like
bad.
No one thinks about Fallout New Vegas as 2116 and what that means versus Fallout 2's 2108.
Well, that one is a pretty obvious plot hole, though. That one I feel bad for not really noticing, but maybe that's because I was.
But that's not. Who cares? Like at the end of the day, like
yeah, that's true.
Like if it doesn't ruin the actual experience.
That's true. To me, it doesn't.
I can waive it because I'm not CinemaSins. I'm not going to be like, like ding here. You guys made a mistake. Like you fucked up. Yeah. If I shouldn't even be thinking about it in the first place.
Yeah, but I only use the context of feeling bad because to me these things are important. Like I'm the person that watches the YouTube videos about like, here's what happened in every single vault in America after the dropping of the bomb.
Yeah.
I will watch that for 2.5 hours because
stuff.
I need to know, and it helps me build a character that exists inside the world. Like
Right.
for example, my last Fallout playthrough was 4, and I played with the help of mods, of course, I played a Institute aligned character. And I was doing fashion shit too. I had like a fucking red trench coat, nice button up with a suit tie and shit, and a little beret.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I had the big Glocky. My gun's barrel was this long, and it was a black Desert Eagle. I had 2 of them, and I had white gloves on too. Looking nice. But why?
And that's the thing.
Why does this matter? I should look like that because I'm a part of the Institute. And then I also installed the cybernetic implants mod. So I was RPing like, after I get to the Institute, that's when I'll start getting the implants. Like I didn't get them at any point prior to the game until I got to the Institute.
RP wise, that made sense.
Yeah, because it makes more sense. And then at that point, I'm fucked up. Like the actual gameplay is, of course, altered because mods. But it makes sense to me, role-playing wise, to why my character is able to use VATS. Like with my because I have cybernetic eyes.
Oh,
you know
killer.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Shit like
and then
that.
you don't use VATS until you get the implants.
Exactly. Well, shit like shit like that. Yeah. But I then went to Fallout New Vegas, installed that on PC, installed some mods, and I played a Institute character going to New Vegas.
Interesting.
To manipulate Mr. House, and I was playing a female descendant of my Fallout 4 character. Yep.
I like it. I like it.
Is she a synth? Is she not? I don't know. And was I going to join the Brotherhood of Steel and just kill all the NPCs? Fuck yeah, I was. You already know. If I seen any hide or hair of the Enclave, which I don't think you do in Fallout New Vegas, really.
I feel like if I was playing that character, I would be like in my head romancing Yes Man. Being like, oh, here's another like sentient computer.
Yeah,
that I found. Like even if
it's like how
it's a facade.
It's like how Jake Sully and the alien girl from Avatar linked up. Me and Yes Man are just gonna boot up together, bro. That's fucking genius. I need to reinstall.
I guess either Yes Man or the cowboy the cowboy robot at the beginning. That's like, well, how would it
he's kind of a bitch though.
Ain't that a kick?
Because when you first pull up to ain't that a kick in the head?
Ain't that a kick in the head?
They had some bangers in that shit though.
Bro,
I don't want to set the world on fire. Banger. Fucking
ain't that a kick in the head? I genuinely have that on playlist on my phone.
Also, did you want to kill Benny? Like after the fact, like once you found out, like if you follow him to his room when you first get to New Vegas.
I've done everything you can do to Benny.
Yeah, me too.
Like Benny, oh my god, what an incredible character.
Yeah, he's
because
awesome.
he is so he just like your hate for him drives you through the plot.
Yeah.
You know,
this
and it makes you care about the main plot, which is the biggest problem in every RPG. Like no other Bethesda game has nailed like the Fusel Ra shit. You're like, I guess it I'm just going through this so that I can get my dragon show. And I guess it's kind of cool fighting some dragons, but their main plot fell blank on me.
Yeah,
you know? And like we just said, Fallout 3, was on these rails in a way that you're just I'm experiencing it, but
predetermined experience.
Yeah, there's and that's why you don't care when you're at the final. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice because you're not choosing to do it yourself, right? But besides all that, what was I just saying? Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just no. I just had to roll back for a sec.
Oh, let me turn this one back on.
Ain't that a kick in the head?
That is a kick in the fucking head.
Your battery.
God damn it. And we're back.
with episode 1.5, part 2 of the Bethesda Talks with Jay and Louie, and we're in the Loft.
We are back in the Loft, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we are indeed. So, as you could tell by the ending of our previous video, we had some technical difficulties, but we pretty much hashed all that shit out, and we're going to cover some topics today that we wanted to address in the previous video. Excuse me.
Perfect.
That's you already know we got the spice and the flavor to start off right, So
It's a good start.
Today, where do you think we should start off?
Well, our last Bethesda episode, we obviously just covered a lot of the introductory, stuff about the studio. But,
Right.
I think we could go deeper into a lot of different parts of them and obviously get into their future.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the biggest game companies out there. There's just always a lot to say about them. And now that they've been acquired by Microsoft, their identity is more in line with, one of the biggest players in the industry.
Right. It seems like they're like the pump factory of the de facto RPGs and like the supremacy, like the hierarchy of the whole Game Pass situation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's interesting about the whole Game Pass situation is, Bethesda, they were disgruntledly kind of coming out with some of those arcane games. They were putting a lot of money into them and not always getting the return they wanted.
Right.
And on Game Pass, it's like Netflix. They don't need to make actual money back for every individual thing. They just need things that, appeal to a wide, range of people. So
yeah, quotas need to be met.
It's actually the perfect place for mid-level games to get released, and that's probably I really love the Deathloop and Dishonored series, and I'm glad they're going to be able to keep making games like that.
Yeah.
Microsoft will probably just bankroll it, and
I guess,
they'll be able to be creative still.
It's a good platform for, because you brought up Dishonored.
Right.
It's a good platform for games you may have missed to be appreciated at, different points in time. So obviously, I played Dishonored at launch, but for those who didn't, I don't think it's a game that you should pass up and not even consider in a Bethesda catalog, because it was pretty fire on its own. As a microcosm that exists inside of the massive catalog that Bethesda has, right?
And it's exactly what you just brought up. It's what do you count as a Bethesda game at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a point when they were just a small studio, and they were working on one team working on one game.
Wayne Gretzky hockey.
But when it comes down to the AAA games now, that they're developing, they spend 5 to 10 years developing a game with a team of 300 to 500 people.
Right. Yeah.
That's an insane operation, and that'll just be for one game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
they have other games developing with different teams as well.
Yeah, that's the development cycle for right now. I'm pretty sure Todd was quoted as saying Elder Scrolls won't come at least earliest 2026 because of the development life cycle that these games go through, and the fact they're working on Star Citizen right now, and you have to consider the post.
Their main resources are allotted elsewhere.
Yeah, and you have to consider the post support necessary after a Bethesda game launches. It's a lot of work after the fact, even after we get it, because you get shit like 300 plus weird bugs and things of that nature.
Of course.
So.
The larger point I was making, though, is just that what do you consider a Bethesda game? Because obviously, you can still point at those main, Fallout, Skyrims, those type of games that have all the resources.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Dishonored has the Bethesda label on it, and they were even if it wasn't the main team working on it,
they grew to a certain size, right?
Right. Yeah.
That they started putting up other studios and other teams, right?
Right.
And then now they've just sold out to Microsoft as well. So like they've, in a sense, become the main studio that Microsoft is probably looking at to develop
Oh yeah,
quite
effectively.
a lot of things. You know, like
I kind of see what you're saying, but what it made me.
it's just like Bethesda's always growing. You know, like
Yeah.
and like all of these things are Bethesda at the same point. You know?
Right. But I think if we look at the question, what makes a Bethesda game Bethesda, a lot of it doesn't have. I mean, I would say that it has a lot to do with Bethesda, like its culture as a gaming company. But at the same time, it also has to do with the influences that their games go through. So like with Obsidian, right? They're not. Obsidian is separate from Bethesda. They're just involved in developing some of their games, like Fallout New Vegas. They did more than that. I'm pretty sure.
Well, Obsidian was a for-hire company. They did the thing that other publishers do,
Right.
where they say they basically put the IP out there and they said we need a game by this deadline and we need it to hit this score on like Metacritic.
Okay, see, that's
or whatever.
interesting. I
And
didn't actually know that.
Well, so here's an extra full one to that. Part of the contract was that it had to get like an 80 on Metacritic or a 90 on Metacritic.
Oh,
I
really?
forget what it was, but like that was
sick.
literally one of the conditions for them to earn a bonus. And like a lot of the game got cut because they just ran out of time.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
but if they had their way, they would have spent like another year on it.
Treated like a true
or whatever,
Bethesda
but
game. I mean, at that
Bethesda-
time, their development cycle was a little bit smaller, I would
Yeah.
say. It's the time between Oblivion and Skyrim.
Well, it was like a 2-3 year turnout. They just wanted like another property out there
Right.
to keep their IP fresh.
Well, I mean,
Obsidian just was like, oh, we have an opportunity to go above and beyond.
dude, there's even, I was reading comments about this guy. He posted on r/gaming that he signed his Air Force contract when Skyrim came out, and he's getting out of the Air Force like 10 years later, and it's still like the new one's still not fucking here. And people were like, bro, this game has lasted me 2 marriages and 4 jobs. That shit is it's
Sorry.
no,
I was
you're
just-
okay, but that
just trying to
shit's
say
pretty
what's up.
pretty insane. You know what I'm like, the longevity of the game itself. So it's interesting to see their development cycle kind of slow to like a crawl. For I think it's reasons of polishing, in my opinion, and development has changed a lot since then.
I mean, it's the same question of why doesn't Rockstar develop, Grand Theft Auto continuously with one team? Like, why did they stop to make Red Dead Redemption 2? Like, because now
Well, because
we're so many
demographics
years
need to be,
past, the point of
Yeah,
GTA 5
but they
coming
need
out.
to be met as well. But Star
Of
Citizen
course,
as a
but,
whole,
but it's the start. It's the stamp of quality. Like they're
Yeah.
like, this is our team. In the moment we off-source it, like Red Dead Redemption 2 wouldn't be the masterpiece it was if they didn't put all the resources in it and keep like it's still a huge game.
Right.
A 200, 300 person development, whatever.
right,
So it's very hard to keep that stamp of quality. Like
right. Well, that's
so,
what
so
that's what,
I get it,
but that's
it's,
what-
it's
that's
the
what
same
sells. So that's what sells. Like for Rockstar, what sells their fucking games is what sells Modern Warfare 2 reboot. It's the title. It's less about like the actual.
Oh, dude, you can't reduce a Rockstar game.
I am going to. I don't give.
No.
I'm not
you're-
okay.
No,
I'm-
you're equating a once every 5 to 6 year game, that like literally ends up getting released to the next gen, like it becomes pretty timeless, versus like Call of Duty, where they're 3 studios are developing Call of Duty games all at the same time, so that there can be a new one coming out every year.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
it's just such a different.
That
thing.
was
Like,
a pretty hardball take.
I mean,
But
yeah,
I will. Say,
appreciate
I
the
still.
hot take,
I
but-
still will say though, like it's that's the notion. They're not yet with Red Dead. Less like this is less the case. But with GTA, they're not tailoring and crafting an entire new world around a central narrative and storyline with thousands of lines of dialogue and side quests and item descriptions, and so there's really no need for companies like that to be in the same position as Bethesda. I think it's just a lot more work to create narrative-driven games because they don't even have to be RPGs in a true sense, because you have shit like Wolfenstein.
Basically, you could count the number of studios that are like them, like on a hand, right? And Rockstar does like they used to have more spin-offs, right? When they would make like the what was it, they had like a car game. It was like something Underground,
Midnight Club.
Obviously the Max Payne games, they did those.
Those were pretty hard.
They had good like other like offshoots.
I think they had like
they didn't have the whole main team working on it.
Yeah, they had like a Sim City adaptation too. I'm pretty sure, something weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something strange. Yeah.
I mean, sure, go off. That and like aesthetically, that sounds like a pretty cool,
I feel like it was very noir
adventure,
vibes. That's like fever dream levels of memory for me, so I could be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain.
But essentially, it's just like you are right. There's not many companies that have so many other little guys with them too, right? Like,
right.
And have so many side projects still, because usually it's like EA or Activision. Or Ubisoft, who's just like developing tons and tons of titles who get those like spin-off type things.
Right. Yeah, they just sell based on the title type thing.
Yeah, I mean, just the game industry is weird though. I mean, like I would just bring up, Naughty Dog too, where you're like, yeah, this is also a company that is gonna work on one narrative game at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they know they could probably push it and stretch it a bit more.
Yeah.
But the quality really shows in.
That's where it matters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, in that vein, Star Citizen. That's Bethesda's next upcoming game, what they're working on currently.
That is,
Do you think that they have taken the time and effort to make a good quality crafted universe?
I mean, yeah, I would hope so. It's not based off of anything, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's in-house canon.
I love the idea of okay, so some of our biggest complaints about like Bethesda and lore in like Fallout and Skyrim respectively are that as it went on, it got more watered down, and like they made weird choices to make gameplay things work.
Gameplay choices, yeah.
This is a wholly new universe, and they're building a pretty big game. It also seems like they're trying to go back to some of their deeper roots with their genre roots, by taking like sci-fi a little more seriously and not going for pop sci-fi as much as like a little more hardcore sci-fi.
Right, yeah.
Which is a good sign. But even if they're like popularizing a harder type of sci-fi, I think that middle ground is going to be a pretty cool place, and is going to be probably like it's going to be the thing that like makes me fall in love with the company again, and gets me, just because it will be a whole new world where I don't have any baggage. I think the worst thing with fandoms nowadays is the baggage of expectations.
It's
like,
the hate buy. It's the
dude,
if there's a Fallout Washington DC, and it was like advertised and all this shit, and you've seen it. I mean, tell me if you feel this way, but if I seen that today, I would go, I don't
like a DC sequel.
You know what? I would go, shit, here we go again. And I would go back in that motherfucker, even if I didn't want to.
Back into Project Purity.
Yep, real shit. With my little
again.
my laser musket and shit, and my little hat. But at the end of the day,
maybe it's like BioShock 2, where this time you play as like, the super mutant. Because in BioShock 2 you play as like the Big Daddy.
Do you?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, it's actually
damn,
crazy.
That's crazy.
And BioShock 2 introduces dual wielding,
Oh,
with plasmids
shit,
and
let's
the
go.
Which, Infinite, obviously, like, that's really good, but...
Yeah, you could grapple.
Well, that shit was crazy,
You could
too.
fly around. It did look hella fun. That was the only thing.
Did you ever play Infinite or any of those?
I played one.
Oh my god.
That's about it.
Yeah, you gotta play them all.
Once was the ambiance of that game was awesome, but that's not for this episode. That's not Todd Howard's making. We'll step away from that for now.
Yeah.
But
tangents aside,
Star,
Starfield,
dude, I think I said Star Citizen
Star Citizen,
earlier.
Starlink,
Starfield.
Neural Net,
Fuck Star Citizen. That game's never coming out. I'm sorry if you played
Skynet.
Terminator. I'm sorry.
Sky Citizen.
Skywind, Morrowind recreated in Skyrim's engine, Pog. Okay.
Space Citizen Kane.
SpaceX. I don't know what's happening here.
Okay.
Anyways,
I do think they're on a good track for this, though. That is my overall take on it.
I mean, you've seen the whole fucking...
The dialogue stuff looks really
Yeah,
cool.
the line, I don't know, what, 3,000 lines or something?
Yeah, some cool stat, but then also, I don't think it's not a voice protagonist, right? Like Fallout 4?
No, I don't think so, because
Yeah,
you have
so-
the choice
Right.
section thing,
and then
similar to like all the Fallouts.
The way that like you spend points on different
It's like an action economy.
parts in dialogue, it's going to be a really engaging system. Because
Yeah.
I was taught that dialogue, unfortunately, is like some of the best shit in video games.
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
like it can be a bit too hard to like let people know that you can play with a sandbox in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can like lean on you know, you can have Easter eggs, you can like have notes and lore and things that like hint at it, but
Right.
like a lot of people will miss stuff if you don't smack them with it.
Well, bro,
so
that's-
dialogue ends up being the way most people remember the world and
Yeah, and
remember
connect to their
engaging with it.
character. Because then, like,
And that's how you role play at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
like
perfect.
That's one of the perfect places you can make a choice.
yeah, or one of my examples would be like with the Soul series. You are pretty much never. You walk around and you go places, and fucking giant gods and demons and shit effectively tell you that you're fucked up and you shouldn't be there, and you don't say anything. You're silent the entire time. I don't know if the Tarnished or any of the canonical heroes
They're
of
just like,
the
what
Soul.
the fuck is up with this guy?
They're just like, they're fucking Helen Keller, effectively. They can't speak and they're deaf. They don't even hear what you're saying, bro. But nonetheless, I feel like it's much more engaging when, even if it's, I don't really prefer voice protagonists at all either.
Right.
But like when you can actually have a multitude of responses, or like Elder Scrolls does this based on your persuasion levels or certain perks you take. You have intimidation options, more suave options, shit like that. That is what draws you to the character, because you're kind of role playing it in your head as you're reading it and as you go, you know?
right.
So if you're in your head, you're
Yeah, you're internalizing it.
if you're a Fallout and you're RPing as like a, you know, kind of a psychopath, you're always going to do the dialogue options that are kind of like, you know, more on the wild side, especially with like the Wild Wasteland perk, you know? You can really get wacky with that shit.
Wild Wasteland.
Yeah, you could do some wacky like dialogue and in-game choices with it, so it really supports the in-game RP necessary for you to be like, all right, this is my really fucked up, like, this character is like based off the Joker or some shit. Like, and I could actually do it. Heath Ledger Joker, by the way, no other Joker. But
You want to RP as any other Joker?
I would not,
Like, not even
RP.
for fun?
You know, I think Joaquin Phoenix in a wasteland setting as the Joker would be fucking terrifying.
Dude, Jared Leto
No,
Joker
no,
works in Fallout universe.
no.
Like he sucks. He's like
Dude,
Mad
he's-
Max Joker, you know, or something. Like
It would be like
it doesn't really make full sense, but
Dude,
you're like
Jared
I guess he's
Leto.
here.
Jared Leto in the Fallout universe is Benny, but
I'm
like
not saying you have
shittier.
to like his performance. I'm just saying like it might be fun to act
do
like
it?
you're his shitty Joker for a day.
All right, modders, if you're out there, mod Suicide Squad Joker into Fallout 4.
No, not just that. We need like every Joker. We need like the Spider-Verse of Jokers.
Can we get like
You know?
a Joker mod
Can we get a
compendium
Joker-verse
possibly? I'm thinking like a fully voiced Jared Leto mod.
I think you do Mark Hamill like in like a classic cartoony style
Mm-hmm.
because you can rent like you know we're talking mods, we're talking video games. Sky's the limit. So like
Really
he's
is.
like in a crazy kind of 2D you know blended way. that's like his Batman animated form.
I could see it.
And then like what you get obviously like Heath Ledger Joker. I think you gotta get Lego Batman Joker in there.
Jesus Christ, that would be some like fourth wall breaking shit.
I mean, we're going.
It's
we're
a
going for all of it, right?
full fucking quest line of the Joker multiverse.
I mean, obviously Jack Nicholson.
Can we just get him to do the Shining thing? Like, even though he doesn't actually.
No. It's Mark. It's both Jack Nicholson's Shining like villain and his Joker performance. Like, right
They're
up
like
next
friends
to
and
each other.
shit.
Yeah, Jack Torrance.
Damn.
And
All right, hey,
fucking Joker.
at Nexus Mods, let's get on this shit. Let's make this shit happen.
Joker crew.
We got
Joker
big.
squad.
We got big ideas over here at the Loft. My
Just
guy,
saying, man.
my guy over here is a real stereotypical white male. His favorite character is the Joker.
Warner Brothers, call me. I have a great idea for a Joker script.
He's going to make him a school shooter.
I don't think I'm going to use the new Joker though from the Batman. I don't know. He seems fine.
I didn't get to see a cameo. I didn't even see what he looked like.
Well,
Who was supposed to be playing him?
He's in like one scene in the Batman, like off screen. They don't like show his whole face. But then there was a deleted scene that the director released on YouTube, and it's like an extended conversation where like Batman goes back to Arkham to talk to him because Joker's already like in there,
Right.
and he's just like, I need to get back into the head of like someone fucked up. So he's like talking to the Joker in kind of like a old Silence of the Lambs way.
Right.
The one before that, like, anyways, this is a big tangent.
We keep.
for Bethesda.
Yeah. This is the third one. It's
I
okay.
think this is what people
This is
should
what
be listening for.
This is good podcasting.
This is
You know what I'm
if you're
saying?
not in for the Joker squad, I don't know.
If you're not a fucking. Never mind. I can't say that on. I can't say that online.
You already walked us into it.
I
so
know. I
think
can't. Hey,
gotta
you know
go
what?
through
I
it
walked
with
us
it now.
into it, and my hands on the doorknob, and I'm gonna go. Hey, man, why don't we just go to your place? See? Okay.
Just get out.
Anyways,
Okay, man.
so, I mean, we're covering Starfield. I mean, we pretty much covered all the expectations and like the things that we know. I don't really. I know I know enough. I think one of the biggest things that I'm satisfied with knowing, and that kind of like assured me that this would be like a fucking this is a hood classic right here. That shit, boy. Just the fact that the character creation when you're picking your starting perks. So the one I remember off the top of my head is like homeowner. So you literally have you start the game with debt to a bank. And if you don't pay your debts, like I think that bank ends up sending like debt collectors after you in space, or you lose your house, which is, I'm pretty sure your house is on like a moon somewhere.
Okay.
But you get the advantage of starting with an actual like lunar base that you can like land your spaceship at and yada yada, do all that cool shit with. There's a perk where you're stronger when you have companions with you.
Yeah.
So you're like it encourages. So these things
that's a classic.
Yeah,
they've had that.
Yeah,
That's in Fallout.
it's a Fallout perk, but from the start, these things encourage you to. They encourage certain play styles, but they're not play styles that are solely mechanical. They're also role playing. So if you wanted to be a group of marauding space heroes or
Right.
space pirates, you're gonna go, oh shit, I'm gonna take that perk because I can take. I don't know any of the characters' names, but let's just say like Bastion and fucking M.2, my robot, like whatever the fuck it may be.
Yeah.
Then you could really roll deep and feel like I'm pretty armed to the teeth. Like realistically speaking, outside of the game settings, if this were real, nobody's fucking taking me and my boys out because I'm strapped up.
No, I think it's really good to hear because it means they're in the right direction. Everything we have like said already on Bethesda and like their biggest failings comes down to them going away from like their roots in that they were a company that was like their RPGs, their Elder Scrolls RPGs were based off of like the old D&D templates that like Baldur's Gate was using, you know, like all of them were just kind of like taking that template.
Yeah, the class archetype and shit like that.
As it went on, they were taking, you know, more and more of the RP out of it in order to give like a more standardized experience for some people, and a more streamlined experience, right? But it's just good to hear that, like, yeah, you can use your perk system to encourage RP, right? Like that's a basic thing that makes you think that they're designed for this one is like,
well, because that's what it's all
better.
about. That's like a callback to, like you said, any Fallouts. It's you don't really get into perks until you start leveling. Do you get one at level 1 in number 3?
Yeah, I think they always give you one at like level 1 or 2.
Because like, bro, there's ones like
the first levels always pop.
There's
fast,
ones like
so
the
you get into perks.
the
fast.
one where it's like the Vault Boy, and he's irradiated. It's like solar radiation perk or something along those lines. And you effectively like.
Yeah, there's there's one where radiation heals you.
Yeah. I don't
like,
think you actually glow, but the little Vault Boy in the description, he's glowing with radiation. That shit is like fun. It's interactive, right? Because you're literally a ghoul for the most part.
Tree. I mean, the moment like I unlocked it in Fallout 3, I scrolled through the whole thing. Like even though I couldn't get all of them, I was just like, oh, I need to know.
I think
like,
4 was kind of like more, and I've said this in episode 0, and I'm pretty sure I said this in the previous Bethesda episode we did, but they pretty much just they don't do anything.
4 is awful.
Yeah, they don't like. It's not that they don't matter, but it's a numerical value
but
added to like.
Yeah, the whole leveling up in that game is shuffled in a way that's just like about hitting dopamine, right? And it's about like having a lot of things to unlock. It's not necessarily about perks
because it was dependent
influencing
on
the world because they don't want to lock any content behind a perk, right? They want you to just be able to walk up and do the cool thing and not have to worry about the RP.
Yeah, just fucking take care of it. Just
have a good experience, you know. And that's just like what most of that game is like, which is why it's just frustrating because you're like, oh, there's so much polish in so much of this, but
it's because
it's just like it's shallow, right?
You know that
it's not as deep as it could be.
Yeah, it could be done tastefully, right?
I mean, you just saw what Obsidian did with Fallout New Vegas, and you're like, yeah, that's what they could have done with Fallout 3.
Right, exactly.
They could have given you choices. They could have implemented. What a beaut! What a beaut! What a beaut! What a red beaut!
So, I mean, I suppose outside of that, I guess we can move on to what we expect in the future from Bethesda. Future predictions.
Yeah, I mean,
hopes and dreams. Whatever we're really thinking of.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting that at the end. Is there any Fallout or Skyrim stuff you wanted to get into, or? I mean, we could keep it simple.
Yeah, after watching back what we had done already in the first clip, I think it's pretty much like.
I mean, we could just put this at the end of our other one. Then, if it's like, if we only end up doing less than an hour.
Yeah, I think that could work because that's the only thing. Fucking shit. Starfield is the only thing we didn't talk about,
right?
In that whole thing.
Yeah, and like I was pretty satisfied with what we said about Fallout and Skyrim at the time.
I think where it clips.
I think we could do specific episodes on the franchises down the line.
Yeah,
and just like save our ammo for that if we want to.
I mean, we could
because just a deep dive on Elder Scrolls. For its own sake,
like
could
a
be
whole
fun.
Lore episode.
If you replay them in a year, you want to do that or
that's
something.
Just pretty much. That's just like easy, like guaranteed. Like we could exceed a certain amount of time talking about it.
Yeah.
Because, bro, I fucking, me, baby. I know all about that shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I could easily, maybe we find an excuse to do like a mod run of like New Vegas, because I think you can do multiplayer. I mean, I'm sure it's buggy as fuck.
Yeah, they
multiplayer and like in a Bethesda game, like a Let's Play, like we could do some real RP shit.
Yeah, they have the Skyrim Beyond.
You get real fun with it.
That's the one I know most about. I hadn't seen.
There's a Skyrim one too.
Yeah.
Well, because they're all based on the same engine. So like, if you can do it with Skyrim, you should be able to do it with New Vegas. Because New Vegas uses the Skyrim mod launcher.
Really?
Yeah.
SKSE. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You download the same thing. Like it's basically all the same Nexus mods. I think Fallout 4 was like the first one to kind of have its own, own thing. But like those couple of games were on there, which is why the easiest way to play Fallout 3 for a long time was to own Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, just boot it through there.
Just boot it through there.
Yeah, I remember. I think we talked about that.
But some people would boot it through Skyrim instead because that was just as applicable.
Fucking wonky. Holy shit. That's
Isn't that
crazy.
nuts?
That's really crazy. I mean, hey, if there's a Fallout New Vegas fucking multiplayer mod, I'm down as shit. I have to.
Dude, mods are tough. I could not crack it when I was trying to. I was trying to do a huge mod run. It was called Fear and Loathing in New Vegas.
Oh shit, that sounds fire. That mod pack.
Yeah, and like I downloaded a lot of it, got through a lot of it, and it was working. And like somewhere along the line, it wasn't working for me. And I did it relatively early on when I like first got my PC, and I just never kind of tried it again.
Yeah, I think we talked about the one I did. I was playing I installed like Institute mods to Fallout New Vegas alongside.
Oh, that's cool.
With a cybernetic katana of some sort. I was just RPing as an Institute android or a synth sent to New Vegas.
Right.
And it was like perfect until it crashed and corrupted my whole save. And I was like, all right, it's over.
R.I.P. baby.
Yeah, there's no, and I'm pretty sure it uses like DirectX 7. Like some really fucked up old version.
Well, dude,
of
Fallout
DirectX.
3 you need like Windows 7 for, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, this sounds so much better lower.
Oh really?
I feel like I was hella annoying up here. No, I mean I don't know. Hey.
Yeah. See, if you're like that, it would be a problem. That would be problematic. Oh man, do you have anything to say to the people?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I figured that was all off-camera chatter.
Pretty much, yeah. But I could always edit and clip.
You never know what's gonna happen in the loft. You know.
You never know what's gonna happen in life and in the loft.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely. I could do a bit on. I could do a bit on Fallout. Or sorry, I could do a bit on Bethesda future shit. Just talk about Xbox and Game Pass in general more so. But I mean, I feel like I kind of did already say a lot about that, right?
Yeah, we touched on that. That's why I was like,
is there anything left in there?
Yeah, that's why when I said it, I was like, "Fuck, bro, I don't know." Because at that point, you're pretty much right. We can touch on like, we can make full episodes out of like what we know. So I can do Elder Scrolls. You could do Fallout. That's 2 episodes.
I mean, yeah, and those we don't want to do those yet. So those are just like
that could be down the line.
Essentially, we've touched as much as we need to on those. That was what I was.
That's kind of what I agree.
Sounds like Okay.
I concur with that, my good sir.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about Deathloop. I've been playing Deathloop a bunch.
I think I only watched the trailer for that.
It's fun.
Really?
It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, so I did really love Deathloop. I am still in the middle of it, but I feel like I've played through most of it. I haven't flipped because you can just you basically there's a kind of cat and mouse game going on, and you can play as like the hunter if you wish.
Right. What's the premise?
The premise of the game is that you are stuck on an island that is stuck in a time loop. Everyone's living the same day over and over again. So no matter what happens at the end of the day, you die and lose everything and start back where you were.
Interesting.
With nothing.
Okay.
But you can save items over playthroughs, and then there's 4 areas to explore, and each area has different things going on at different parts of the day.
Right. Yeah.
So you have 4 time periods in a day, and essentially you're trying to like story wise, you're trying to kill a bunch of people. So you're trying to like figure out how you could get like a perfect run of a day to execute everyone and finish the game.
Shit. Yeah.
and end the loop.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of remember
That's
that
like
from
that's
the
like more of the
trailer and
plot
stuff.
of it, but like, it's just it's basically the same mechanics as Dishonored. Like they have the blip, and they have like a lot of the different like runes
Slow
and
time
like
and all that shit.
Yeah, I think just have different implications,
Right.
Or implementation, blah, blah, blah. Different, different uses of those mechanics. But it feels like it a lot. They have the blade that feels like the Dishonored blade, but
That shit was nice.
for me, I really love stealth games, but I don't struggle as much as I used to, but I used to struggle with them because I would get just like too anxious about like not playing a perfect game and like wanting to save scum because I felt like the whole point of the game was not to fail.
Yeah.
And excuse me. But like I was saying, I thought the point of the game was not to fail, but really the point of most games is to fail because like in the chaos in the slippery moments is like where you end up having the most fun,
Right.
and coming up with the best stuff. And those are the memorable moments of any gameplay, and honestly, failing usually makes you better. But the thing I really like about this is like because it's got this infinite loop thing. It's like you could like totally fuck up and die probably in a world, and then start back over, and then the whole world is just reset. And it's like you don't have to like save scum to do it. It's
Right.
built into the
It's
game.
like an innovative way to avoid that.
Yeah, and like
effectively.
in some ways, like if you fucked it up, you're like, all right, next loop, I'm gonna like try to get
yeah,
this
and
part.
it encourages you to do crazy fucking shit.
Dude, and that's the thing is like I really find myself doing crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
Like I've really like pushed the game's mechanics in a way that like I saw people play Dishonored this way, but I was always too anxious when I played Dishonored to play it that way.
Yeah, because it's fucking hard not to be.
Yeah, and like it's just crazy. Like all the pressure is taken off, but like I can still. I'm really good at the stealth in this game too because like I've practiced enough with the gameplay because like that is what I love with playing a game is becoming a master at it and just fucking running through rampant. That's what I do. What I would do in Fallout New Vegas. Like that's why a gameplay run is so appealing to me because like it doesn't matter what gun is in my hand in the game, I can like headshot people without a second thought.
Yeah,
because
I remember you were
so many
telling me
hours
about
in it.
that.
I may have even said it. on
Hunting
camera.
rifle OP.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, but even just like the their equivalent of like the Colt 42, like whatever that little like revolver is,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
goes off, man. Or the 10 millimeters, like just
Yeah, the 10 is
Easy.
pretty nice too. Yeah.
yeah. Love those games though because
Though it's very satisfying to become
be the
skilled.
master of
Yeah,
a domain.
to become
or-
skilled
and,
in
like,
that.
Yeah,
Like
because like
in Dishonored, it was like that a lot too. Like I forget this YouTuber's name, but he did Dishonored stealth runs and speed runs, and he would do crazy fucking shit that I never would have thought of, like
Right.
using a
I've seen
using
similar YouTubers. of course.
telekinesis to throw a bottle, and as the guards turn, using the
Stab
blink.
'em.
No kills either.
Oh no, yeah,
Yeah,
just-
pacifist runs with
That's sick.
stealth. Using telekinesis on like a bucket to put over someone's head.
Yeah.
And then dude,
that's
I didn't even
that's an
know
old
that shit
that's
was-
that's an old Bethesda trick.
Yeah, that's true.
because you can do that in Skyrim.
Yeah, you can. And they're just like, "Where are you? Where are you? You shouldn't be here. Wait, where are you?"
You're just like
NPC behavior.
it's a dude standing on a shop behind a shop counter.
Yeah.
And he only stands in one spot. So you're like, I can loot half of the store because he only looks at half of it. But the other half he's always staring at. So if I can get a bucket on his head, I can loot the whole store.
Upstairs is all me, baby. Yeah. Yep. That's like the beauty in it, though. And that's why I've always thought that was hella cool. Me personally, I like killy time. So I like to like max out the character. like Corvo in Dishonored. I believe that's
whatever.
in the first one at least. In the second one, it's
Corvano, Convorlius,
Corvetto,
Cornelius,
Corvette,
Corville,
Orpheus from Matrix.
Orpheus.
They should have just made. They should have just.
Orpheus, Sorcius.
I'm the Schwarshiest.
I'm the Schwarshiest, Shashi man, or in the Shash
Shaken, not stirred, because I'm swarthy. Anyways,
yeah, we're just getting Schwarshy on them.
we're just getting Schwartzy this one. But Corvo, yeah, I think that's his fucking name.
Yeah. Corvette
goes vroom. He really did go vroom though. That boy's fast as shit.
Dude, he flew right off that cliff.
Actually, I think my favorite
He
ability.
flew right into that knife, when he got murdered.
Damn, bruh, that boy just got hit on his bike.
Are you gonna stop?
Good callback. You didn't stop. Oh shit.
Two other people were already helping.
Oh, good. There's already two people there. I'm not gonna stop. Yeah, his words, not mine.
Other people had hands on the man.
He needed to lay hands from you specifically.
I do not know CPR.
So
It's not going to be of any help.
But my favorite ability, and this is like the only thing, my last thing on Dishonored, was possession. That shit was great. You just go into somebody else's body.
Yeah.
For a temporary amount of time. Maxing that out was so satisfying. Because you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you wanted at that point.
Yeah, and dancing around as a rat.
Oh yeah, the rat plague thing?
Yeah,
like where you can
stuff.
direct rats to just devour the guards.
No, but you could
stuff.
even possess a rat and then
go through like a little...
a hidden area or something. Yeah,
I forgot about that. Good times. Let's play that game again.
They're well-made games. And that's the thing is I could always tell... with Dishonored that I was like, oh, I would really like this, but I just gotta chip away at it, and for whatever reason just fell away from me. But with Deathloop I really fell into it and started learning all the maps, and honestly I probably got a little too good at it too fast, in that I should have just played through levels faster, because it's the same one, so you're going to be spending a lot of time in all these maps, so it's okay to not get everything right away.
No,
if that makes sense, but I need it.
I already know. I need
that's
to be
perfect,
swag, bro. I already know. I mean, especially with a game like
shit.
that.
That's just
when the boundaries
nature.
When the boundaries are established. All right, why don't I just get everything? I don't have to because when the boundaries are unclear, you're just well, fuck, I don't know. It's like when you're leaving Good Springs. I don't know where the fuck to go. Where should I go? Should I go to night or should I go to Nipton?
You better find your daddy, son.
You better find that boy that shot you in the head, son.
Ain't that a kick in the head?
Does Doc Rivers say
the room was completely black. I hugged her and she hugged back.
Is that actually
like a
the
sailor
second
said
line?
once? Ain't that
think
a
that's the
hole
second
in the
line.
boat?
I don't think that's...
My head keeps spinning.
Oh, that is actually it. There you go.
I got
Wait, aren't those...
winning.
Dude, alright. See, you're fucking up the song for me in my
to
head
be
canon.
beautiful.
See, dude,
She's telling me
we
we'll
just
be
need
wed.
we just need a Fallout New Vegas
She
radio
picked
now.
up a king-size bed.
That's not the fucking...
Something quick, ain't that
Hey,
a kick in the head?
He's been fucking doing this since he got to my fucking house.
In the head.
It is a kick in the head. And that's where we left off on episode 1. Getting fucking kicked in the head. And here we are again. It's come full circle.
Sorry, it was
have to-
there, so I had to sing.
You're gonna
it.
have to do a little dance and jig next time. Get up on the camera.
I'm
and
gonna
do
have to
a
actually
little,
learn the song
"Ain't
so I can
that a
perform it.
kick in the head?"
I should pull out the guitar and do an acoustic cover.
Yeah, if you did that, I would have been. That would have been a good closer. I don't say anything the rest of it, and then you just do a little acoustic cover of "Ain't That a Kick in the Head."
And then at the end they go, anyway, here's Wonderwall. Hard cut.
Shut up, play Wonderwall. Yeah, I would have said that, but you know what? I think I'm just gonna edit it
My head keeps spinning.
I'm just gonna clip it during the whole time you're singing. I'm just talking
I
during
gotta make a dig.
You're
A
fucking
wedding.
cramps. All right, make sure you guys
Ooh,
like and
boss,
subscribe.
you got
My
it,
friend's
D.
having a
A
fucking
wedding.
aneurysm and I can't get away from him. It's been 264 days since we've been recording these episodes and we haven't posted one. Make sure you like and
She's telling
subscribe,
me
please,
we'll be
because you won't
wed.
let me leave the loft.
She
Love you
picked
guys.
up a
Peace.
king size bed. So be quick. Ain't that a kick in the head?